cybersecurity, there's a ton of content out there, and if you don't know where to start, it can be overwhelming, even paralyzing. So let's fix that. Welcome to Simply Cyber, a community of tens of thousands of aspiring and active cybersecurity professionals focused on networking, knowledge sharing, and professional development. I'm Dr. Gerald, Auger, Chief Content Creator at Simply Cyber, inviting you to get the answers to your cybersecurity problems with hundreds of cybersecurity videos answering your frequently asked questions, interviewing industry experts, and live streaming daily cyber threat briefings hosted by me. Now get the stories and insights you won't find anywhere else. Hit subscribe now and dig into all the fresh content on the channel and in the community. Nothing should stop you from launching and leveling up your cybersecurity career today. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday, March 26, 2024. This is episode number 586 of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am your host, Dr. Gerald Auger, and over the next 45 minutes, me, you, Eric Taylor in the green room, Divine Dream Divine, a.k.a. Triple D, Laura Flores, Johnny 5, Sharice Lamb with the blue badge, my man Chuck with Team SC, ZMAT, folks over on LinkedIn like Logan Fuller, and maybe you, Marcus Kyler with the Yeet crew. We're all going to be, Jamie Fleck from the great Northeast. It's been a hot minute, Jamie. Good to see you. We're all going to be shredding the top cybersecurity news stories of the day, and I'll be giving my expert opinion and analysis on each of those stories on what it means to you as a practitioner. So how can you use this information to drive cyber risk reduction for your business stakeholders? And if you're looking to break into the industry, stay tuned, because you're going to be asked in any job interview, how do you stay current on the industry? And this right here, the Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast, it is a banger of an answer. I have literally numerous examples, testimonials. The interviewer, someone on LinkedIn just can't, but they got asked like, what is ransomware and should you pay the ransom? And like the person just melted the face of the interviewer, and they're like, it's straight up from the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. So holler at your boy. We're going to be straight crushing it today. But before we get into it, I want to say shout out and thanks to the stream sponsors. Start with my good friend Eric Taylor and the crew over at Barricade Cyber Solutions. Listen, y'all, Barricade Cyber Solutions is dedicated to, there we go. Barricade Cyber Solutions is dedicated to helping businesses from cyber attacks and recover from the damage done. Cyber attacks can cause massive issues for businesses and send dedicated, hardworking business owners into turmoil. But guess what, y'all? Barricade Cyber Solutions knows how to mitigate the damage done by cyber incidents. They know how to yeet threat actors out of the environment. Believe that. Go to barricadecyber.com, links in the description below, and say what's up to Casually Joseph and Eric Taylor when you're there. Tell them Simply Cyber sent you. Or you can stay tuned to Jaw Jacking, where you can tell Eric Taylor yourself. Now, I also want to say shout out and love to Panoptcy Security. My friend Brandon Poole and the crew over at Panoptcy Security can help you move your information security program forward. What does that mean? That sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook. You're going to talk about a single pane of glass next, Jerry? No. Listen. When you are implementing an information security program at your business to really drive cyber risk reduction, there's frameworks, there's ways to do it, there's exercises, there's education, there's choosing the right technology. Let's just say, for example, you finally got budget and you're going to get managed detection and response services like outsourced SecOps. Who do you pick? Are you going to do a bake-off? Who are the 5 leading vendors in the space? Which one works for you? All those questions are reasonable to ask, and before you overcommit, $200,000 a year across a 3-year contract, perhaps you would like to do a little bit of research. That's where Panoptcy can come in. They can do that level of vendor validation, verification. Does it make sense for your business? Are you going to get the biggest return on your investment, et cetera, et cetera? That's just one use case that I made up right now. I'm telling you, Panoptcy Security can augment your information security staff and program and take you to the next level and really help you with your goals of protecting the business and its digital assets. Go to panoptcy.com to learn more. Also, shout out Antisyphon training, but more about those beautiful babies at the mid-roll. I want to let you all know, many of you already know, but I don't prep or research for any of these stories. I literally had to reboot. That's why I was a couple minutes late today. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to say. My earpiece is pinching the hair on the back of my head, which is really annoying and like ripping the hair out of my neck, which I could do without. But okay, so that's a little personal. It is Tidbits Tuesday, so you'll learn something about me. I actually learned something new last night, which Mrs. Auger thought I was insane for not knowing already. We'll see how everybody stacks up against me and my lack of worldly knowledge at the mid-roll. Every episode of this Daily Cyber Threat Brief is worth half a CPE, so say what's up in chat, hashtag TeamSC in chat. If you're a regular, grab that screenshot, save it off, half a CPE. They stack up 2.5 a week, 10 a month. If today's your first episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, however you found us, welcome to the party, pal. Say hello in chat. Say hashtag first timer in chat. Just type it in there, hashtag first timer. If you are here for the first time, we got a sound effect for you and a special emote. So don't be shy. Let us welcome you into the circle of trust. Here we go. All right. Well, do me a favor. It's time to work. So do me a favor. Sit back, relax, and let's let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over us in an awesome way. I will see you all at the mid-roll. Just programming note, the Stream Deck integration with Spotify is dorked up, so I will be doing things manually today, which kind of sucks. So stay tuned for that. All right, sit back, relax. Let's go.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Tuesday, March 26, 2024. I'm Rich Straffolino. EU targets tech giants with DMA. The European Commission announced official investigations into Apple, Alphabet, and Meta, authorized by the powers of the bloc's new Digital Markets Act. These investigations will look into whether Apple and Google inappropriately favored their own app marketplaces. The investigation of Meta will look at its use of personal data in ads. EU Commissioner for the Internal Market Thierry Breton said these investigations come after all of these companies already took measures to come into compliance with the DMA.
All right. Hey, programming note, I have successfully corrected the Stream Deck like a total undergrad college kid. I'm like doing active troubleshooting while I'm live, but good news, I fixed the Stream Deck, so we're good. All right, so this is continuing on the European Union doing this investigation into Meta and Apple and Alphabet, aka Google, on whether or not they're essentially doing antitrust monopoly type things. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. Usually the EU is known for their privacy legislation, but I don't know what anti-steering rules means. I'm assuming this is some type of antitrust. This isn't a good day for Apple. If you guys remember in the news, like a couple days ago, the Department of Justice, slapped the ban hammer down on Apple as well regarding their antitrust approach to the App Store and a couple other things. Some people had said in comments that this was essentially riding the wave of Epic Games, famously who removed Fortnite from the the Apple Store. Because Apple wanted a piece of their cake and Epic Games said no. Kind of a clever business model, right? Epic Games, the app is free to download, so Apple wasn't getting any of that sweet, sweet taste of the billions of dollars that Epic Fortnite makes selling skins and, weapon mods and stuff like that. So, this isn't really a cybersecurity story, so there isn't much here for you to do in order to drive cyber risk reduction. Honestly, to make this a little cybery, I hope this doesn't result in kind of a proliferation of crappy technology that is cheaper, that CFOs will look at and be like, ooh, we can save 20% on the budget this year. We can go to Cayman Islands for the executive retreat, and everybody will still have a phone. In reality, you're buying like knockoff phones that, Carl ultimately is going to download malware on. So for those who don't know, Carl is a end user avatar that I use. It's from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but if you hear Carl, that just means generic end user in the environment. Let's keep going.
China starts U.S. tech ban in government. The Financial Times' sources say that back in December, the Chinese government issued new guidelines that forbid the use of U.S. tech in government computers and services. This means no Intel or AMD processors, no Windows OS, or other foreign database apps.
What?
Government agencies must switch to domestic alternative chips from Huawei and Phytium. These rules don't impact non-government agencies.
All right. So, okay, a couple things. Again, not a cybersecurity story, per se. Okay, so for a while now, U.S. has been blocking. There's been a decoupling of the global economy, the global supply chain, and oh my God, that's awesome. And it's mostly been Five Eyes countries, Western democracy, Western philosophies, basically dropping the people's elbow on China regarding semiconductor technology, the use of that stuff. We've also seen with Russia, the United States banning like Kaspersky antivirus. The United States is like pushing right now to ban TikTok. That's like a whole thing. So, this doesn't surprise me that China's like, all right, enough of this. We're blocking all US-based tech, software, and hardware. Now, here's two things that jump out to me right away. One, I guess hat tip to China for like the country that's leading the charge on conducting nation state level espionage. I'm talking about China. I mean, they're amazing at espionage. I'm surprised it took them this long to figure out that the United States may be doing espionage also into China. Okay. So them blocking all this stuff, I assume it's less of crippling the global economy and more from an espionage purpose. Although I will say, actually, as I'm talking, I don't research these stories. As I'm talking, not Intel and AMD losing access to the Chinese market probably is pretty huge. Now, this is only government computers. So, normal end users can still purchase Intel and AMD chips and stuff like that. So it's not as devastating to a company like Intel and AMD as in, Microsoft, as you would think. I'm going to look up Intel stock price. I'm kind of curious. All right. So I'm looking right now. It looks like just on the 5-day, this dip right here is probably on the news. It went from $42 to $40, which I think is 5% of $2 is 5% of 40. So it lost 5% of its stock value and then immediately rebounded. So not really anything too devastating from a company perspective. But I will say, if you look at the way that Hollywood behaves in Chinese markets, in order to like if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look at John Cena apologizing in Mandarin. It's pretty cringy. Also, Tom Cruise and Top Gun, like they had to redo the jacket. So anyways, Hollywood falls over itself in order to get into the Chinese market because of that straight cash, homie. Straight cash, homie. So I wouldn't be surprised here. Now, from a practical perspective, the one thing that they said that like blew my mind is that they're banning Microsoft Windows. Guys, Microsoft Windows and Active Directory, like that is in 95% of all corporate environments. When you're talking about the Chinese government, that's a first world power, huge entity, right? Like think of the United States government. We have multiple agencies, multiple departments, multiples. They're all running Windows, right? I don't know how China's going to run. Do they have like someone who is, from the Chinese space or understands that world over there? I mean, do they have like a Chinese Windows or something? Like you can't, to me, like it's fine to like puff up your chest and be like, we're not buying Intel chips anymore. It's another when you say, we're not going to use an operating system that is deployed in 95% of businesses worldwide. All the software, like just for a second, just think about that. Like you're not going to run Windows. So that means you're not going to get to run any software that's written to run on Windows. So I assume they're going to run Linux, right? So now they've got to run all Linux stuff, teach all their staff Linux. Carl in accounting, talking about command lines. Like, dude, I'm all for it. But this is a major impact to business and getting things done. So I just think it's crazy that they would, I just think it's crazy that they'd get rid of Windows. I mean, Brosif, That's a pretty big decision. Can you imagine going to work and being like, all right, we're done with Windows up in here? Like, whoa.
Think tank calls for U.S. military cyber service. A new report from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies calls for a dedicated cyber force in the military. It notes that U.S. Cyber Command currently contends with inefficiencies by dividing labor between multiple service branches. The lack of dedicated cyber focus by all of these services also hurts recruitment efforts. As an example, the Navy didn't have any cyber-specific work roles until last year. The report did not make specific recommendations for what this cyber force would look like, but co-author, retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, said the U.S.'s cyber status quo fails to keep up with its enemy's capabilities.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised the Navy didn't have a cyber capability. Isn't the Department of Navy just the Department of Transportation for the Marine Corps, if I'm not mistaken? All right. I'm a Marine Corps family kid, so I have to throw shade at the Navy, but don't worry. Like Marines eat crayons. So, all right. I digress. Okay. So listen, U.S. must establish independent military cyber service. Okay. So I love this idea. Hey, Matt Mellon, good to see you. I love the idea. Okay. So, you have the Air Force technically for the air. You have the Navy technically for the sea. You've got the Marines for, getting stuff done. So I love the idea of this. Here's the problem. Okay. Here's the problem. This is a fine idea, but do you know why the Navy has its own airplanes and pilots, even though we have the Air Force? Because the different arms of the military, they're all, self-serving and into their own stuff, right? Like the Navy doesn't want to ask the Air Force to provide air cover. The Navy just wants to fly it, right? The Marines don't want to ask the Army to please bring a tank. They just want their own tanks. So you get into this pissing match with the different branches who want their own stuff. So because of that, they all have their own cyber capability, except the Navy. I guess they missed the boat on that one. Oh, the boat. Oh my God. I didn't even mean that. But whatever. I cracked myself up, I suppose. So as much as this is a cool idea, I'm not sure that this is going to happen. I hope it does. What I could actually see happening, okay, here's what I could see. I could see, U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and then I thought Space Force was supposed to be Cyber Space Force. So maybe they could do it that way. But I do love the idea of a dedicated cyber capability. You will still have independent departments like the Marine Corps or whatever having their own cyber operators anyways, but having a dedicated branch of the military for this would really go for recruitment. Plus it'd be really sexy, right? It's like, oh, like I'm going to go into the military and I'm going to get trained up in being basically Johnny Lee Miller from Hackers 1996, right? I'm going to be zero cool and straight up crush it. It's awesome. People need to get people talk about, oh, I'm leaving the military. How do I enter the workforce? I was a tank mechanic or whatever. Dude, this would set you up for success. So the people who are like, I can't get experience without a job. Like recruitment numbers would go through the roof. You're guaranteed a cyber job if you join this military branch. So the way the U.S. government moves is pretty slow. What's up, Roderick Johnson? Good to see you. Hashtag Team SC, Roderick. So the U.S. Government moves wicked slow, so we'll see how this goes. Plus, there's going to be like a political power vacuum, like cash grab for power. If they did initiate this, well, then who gets to be like the general or like the dude in charge, right? Who like someone's got to be like the commandant of the cyber military or whatever. And it sucks. It's human nature to I guess crave power, not in everybody, but in some people, like crave power and undermine others. So we'll see where this goes. Personally, I don't know how much work has been done in the space to get this initiated. For the longest time, the NSA was like basically where you'd go for your cyber help. And then, then Cyber Command got stood up and then different branches started getting their own cyber operators. Even Josh Mason was like a cyber warrant officer or something. Not a warrant officer. He was like a cyber weapons officer or something. So they exist, but I don't know how much effort's been done on this. Again, final thought on this. It really does get back to this petty squabbling. Like if you it makes me think of the CIA and the FBI and how they don't like each other, and how 9/11, like they had the intel, but they weren't sharing it with each other because of this petty infighting and squabbling, and it resulted in catastrophic loss for the United States and launched, 20 years of war, whatever it was. So this is a cool idea, but unfortunately, I think human nature and pettiness will prevent it from being successful.
Japan runs cyber defense drills. Japan's Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications ran its first cyber defense drills in Guam with some of its island nation neighbors last month. Kiribati, the Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Nauru, and Palau took part in the exercises, with representatives from Fiji and Tonga observing as well. Participants trained on incident response and carried out cyber defense drills against key infrastructure assets. Analysts say this level of coordination is needed, as Japan could suffer a cyber attack initially staged through one of its neighbors.
All right, guys, 100%. This is a tabletop exercise. It's just being done at a nation state level with many more players, many more actors involved. But this is cyber defense drill. Call it what you want. This is a tabletop exercise. Japan has every reason to be concerned. Here's the thing. Japan, like they say, could be attacked by their neighbors. Guys, there's only one internet. We in the United States are just as likely to be attacked by China as Japan is. Japan's proximity to North Korea is irrelevant on whether or not it would be targeted. So I get when they say could be hit by one of its neighbors. This isn't kinetic militia, right? It's not like because my neighbor can see my house, I'm more likely to get hit with a cyber attack. I'm more likely to get hit with a water balloon because that matters geographically and proximity wise, but not cyber. So anyways, I guess all I would say is I don't know. I don't know why I'm getting all worked up about that one comment, but it just annoys me. So there we go. Way to go, Japan. Other countries should be doing this. Other businesses should be doing this. I want to point out that one of the benefits of doing this particular tabletop exercise, and one to really bring into your own business and your own workflows, is coordination with external parties. Okay, so you see how it says runs inaugural cyber defense drills with Pacific Island nations. Here's the deal. Okay, let's run a tabletop exercise. Emmanuel Dark, we got hit with ransomware. What do we do? Emmanuel Dark's like, Luke Canfield's head of IT. Luke, restore from backups. And Luke's like, all right, I'll restore from backups. We're back up. Now what? All right, good job, everybody. Completion of tabletop exercise. That's not really useful or effective at doing anything. Well, then let's bring the executive team in. Executives, all of a sudden, the threat actor says that they've released some data on Facebook. What do we do? Okay, still good, but let's get better. Now, how about third parties? How about, hey, we use AWS and AWS is down. Well, we spend $200,000 a year on AWS. Do we have a person at Amazon we can contact? No, that's a problem. Oh, hey, we're going to roll over to our DR site. Who's at the DR site? Is it Terramark? Is it one of these big data center people? Do we have a person there? Do we have to fly somebody there? Right? Just when you get into the bigger picture and coordination needs to happen, it's not just being able to call them like, oh, I've got their phone number or whatever. It's like, okay, when I call you, what is your role? What are your workflows? Who's got authority over at you, other partner business, right? Those are things that a more mature tabletop exercise should give consideration to, but get the basics down first, right? Obviously, don't try to if you just got a new pair of legs, you shouldn't try to sprint. What you should try to do is try the legs out, see how they work. How do these knees bend? Oh, this is pretty good. I put socks on. All right, I got it figured out. Now I'm going to sprint. Same with tabletop exercises, right? Get the IT team involved first. How do we restore from backups? Does everybody know where the backups are kept? Whatever. Does everybody know what apps come up first? Then bring the business in. And then when you're ready to, push the clutch down and drop it into fifth gear, that's when you go like supply chain and third parties. All right. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
And now a word from our sponsor, Varonis. Ready to reduce your risk without taking any? Try Varonis' free data risk assessment. It takes minutes to set up, and in 24 hours, you'll have a clear, risk-based view of the data that matters most and a clear path to automated remediation. Get started for free today at varonis.com/CISO series.
All right. Hey, if you were a first timer here, hashtag first timer, welcome to the party, pal. We got 400 of you. We just crusted the 400 mark, so let's go. Way to go. Will Reed's in the house, everybody. Will Reed starting a new podcast soon. Holler at you, Will Reed. And just for those who know, we're gonna take it back. Like, welcome back, Carter. Here we go. All right, y'all. Welcome to the party, pal. I hope you're enjoying the show. This is episode 586. If you're getting value, whether it's entertainment value, educational value, you're just a regular and you're loving what we do here, do me a favor, hit the like button on YouTube. It's not for vanity metrics. It's not like if we get over 200 likes, I'm going to take my shirt off and run around my house. It's literally to trigger the YouTube algorithm in order to get people who are searching for cybersecurity content to discover Simply Cyber. I actually had somebody tell me that Simply Cyber was their favorite YouTube channel on the entire YouTube platform. So we're doing it, people. We're straight crushing it. Consistency is key in our industry, and it's the same for showing up every day and hitting that like button. Want to say shout out and thanks to the stream sponsors, Barricade Cyber, Antisyphon, and Panoptcy. But speaking of Antisyphon, got two things for you. One, Antisyphon training is disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by providing high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone, regardless of financial position. They offer their students the ability to learn skills, practice what is taught, and engage with the community in a fun way. If you like the way that we're doing this show right now and the engagement with the community, you will love Antisyphon training because it's basically like that on steroids. Now, two things I want to share with you. One, like almost all of Black Hills is going to, Black Hills is the other, is kind of the parent company of Antisyphon training. Black Hills will be at Hackspace Con. If you want to meet all the Black Hills people, Zach, Hill, Deb, John Strand, all of them, they will be at Hackspace Con straight crushing it. So look for them. Bo Bullock will probably be there. Also, I want to remind everybody, and if I can get a link to this, please. On April 12th, if you want to learn threat hunting from an expert for free, come take the active countermeasures threat hunting class. If I get a link, I'll bring it up. I enrolled. So not that I'm any great shakes, but if you want to take the class with me and other Simply Cyber community members, show up 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. April 12th, absolutely free. And it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. You want to talk about a fun and engaging community? That's why I'm doing it. It's going to be wicked fun. All right. Want to tell everybody about the Simply Cyber Community Challenge. Billy Orellana is Billy in the chat right now. Billy, tag someone. All right, so Billy's in chat. Billy's going to tag somebody. Guys, here is how it works. If you want a very easy, successful, simple way to blow up your professional network. Hey, what's up, CatGPT? Good to see you.
Shall we play a game?
Listen, go on LinkedIn, search for the hashtag Simply Cyber Community Challenge. Comment and send connection requests to the people who are commenting and posting. It's as easy as that. You will blow up your professional network. You will take over your LinkedIn feed, and it will be dope, I promise you. Now, who wants the baton? Billy did it yesterday. Travis Loads says he's into it, Billy. If you want to tag Billy, tag somebody, and we'll do it. I see Travis Loads is interested. All right, guys, every single day of the week has a special segment, and Tuesday is Tidbits Tuesday, where I share a little bit about myself, see if we resonate and jive. Listen, I found out last night that narwhals are actually real. I did not know this. I thought narwhals were fictitious. I thought they were like unicorns of the sea. it was a answer for Jeopardy, and Mrs. Auger and I played Jeopardy. We're big Jeopardy goobers, and the answer was narwhal, and I'm like, what? I'm like, is that even real? And she's like, yeah, narwhals are real. Like, where have you been? And I'm like, oh my God. So, hey, fun fact, narwhals are real. So that's that. Did we hand off the baton? Sonny O'Malley wants the baton. So Billy, if you can tag Sonny, or I'll leave it to you. But do want to say shout out to CatGPT again. 17 months. I know, narwhals, man. I'm sorry. All right, let's go. My soundboard crapped out again. Yay. All right. Yay, production.
Google recommends scam sites. SEO consultant Lily Ray spotted Google's new Google Search Generative Experience recommending malicious or otherwise spammy sites in its conversational responses. An investigation by
All right, hey, Sonny. Travis Loads is going to take it. Sonny O'Malley. I'm putting it down right now. Travis Loads, please accept the baton. Travis Loads, please post. Travis Loads, please come back tomorrow. Sonny, please come back tomorrow, and let's get that baton to Sonny tomorrow. All right. Perfect. BSEC with the assist. Here we go, y'all. I'm going to drop this in chat. This is that training on April 12th from Antisyphon that I will be taking. I really am excited about this. So if you're interested, giddy up on that. All right. Hey, Tony Roy with the kind words. Best cyber news on YouTube. All right, let's keep going.
The computer found sign that these responses were part of the same SEO poisoning campaign, often using the .online top-level domain and similar HTML templates. Clicking on these spam sites take users through a series of redirects where they get prompted by things like fake captchas, opt-ins for site notifications, and prompts to install browser extensions. Google said it removed the examples cited and continues to update its advanced spam-fighting systems.
All right. I certainly have no place to speak because I have audio issues all the time, but can you hear like the feedback in Rich Straffolino's recording? Like, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it irks me. All right. So Google's new AI search results pushing malware. Guys, guess what? SEO, Chris Young, SEO expert, SEO search engine optimization. Nobody's going to page 3 of Google search results, right? I don't even think they have pages anymore. I think it's like an infinity doom scroll. But my point is, you Google something, you search for something on the internet, and you're picking one of the top 5, 6 results, unless you're doing something super specific, right? Getting into those top results is an entire cottage industry. There's people who that's what they do. I get bombarded with email all day, every day about, Jerry, let's push Simply Cyber to the top of Google. Okay, awesome. Let's do that. Guess what? Threat actors, they can do it too. And I bet you some search engine optimization professionals don't even know that they're helping threat actors, but it can happen, right? So sites pushing malware, scams, etc. This has been going on since the dawn of Google, all right? Threat actors usually paying for Google ads and sponsored posts getting to the top of the results. That's what's up. Google's combating it. Thank you, Google. But unfortunately, you've got to have defense in depth because threat actors, they're clever little buggers, and they will definitely get around whatever defenses we have. So all I would say is educate Carl. Educate your end users. Let them know not to click, not to get click happy and just click on all the things. Click. Especially sales guys. Oh my gosh. I don't know about you guys, but no disrespect to sales professionals in general. But typically, in my experience, salespeople love just clicking on stuff. Click. So you got to be careful of that. But it's an opportunity. That's the way I always like to see it. It's an opportunity for us as cyber professionals to educate, discover, and help reduce cyber risk. So just know, basically, whether you're getting a phishing email or you're searching for it, you can land on malicious websites. So you got to do defense in depth. EDR, firewall, next gen firewall, where it's doing like threat feed updates and blocking known compromised websites, etc. And also, just to be real, I have seen IT people also click on silly things, which is really problematic because they're usually logged in as administrators or domain administrators, which is nauseating, but it does happen. If you started a new company, one of the first things you should do is look at what users are in the domain admin group and then ask why are there 41 people in the domain admin group?
Supply chain attack hits GitHub accounts. A new technical report from Checksmarks details the level of sophistication behind supply chain attacks that ultimately hijacked GitHub accounts. The unknown attacker set up a typo squat of an official PyPy domain, hosting a Trojanized version of the popular package Colorama. These malicious packages then propagated through GitHub repositories, including the account for the Discord token generator. Researchers believe the attackers stole session cookies to access the GitHub accounts and then list the malicious packages. Once the Trojan deploys, it sends back session tokens, crypto wallets, and browser tokens to remote servers.
This story doesn't look like the same story, but we'll run with it anyways. Yeah, this doesn't look like the same story. Hold on one second. Let me do this really quickly. Supply chain attack hits GitHub repos, PyPy. Yeah. This story is what they just said, but this link goes to a different story, okay? I mean, this is an info stealer and it seems similar, but this doesn't mention typo squatting and PyPy and all that. All right, so look, here's the deal, okay? Couple things. One, just like the previous story talked about Google and fake websites getting pushed to the top that are basically hosting malware and stuff like that. This is the same thing. So the threat actors basically created a domain that looked like PyPy, which is basically a Python repository, right? So you go there to import or find developed Python code to import into your stuff, okay? So think of it as like GitHub, kind of, except Python only, and it's people go there, all right? So someone created it to look like. Now you could have coupled it with this if you were, a graduate from Handsome Boy Modeling School or a Threat Actor Academy. You might know that you could combine these two attacks to have even greater efficacy, right? So you set up the fake PyPy domain, and then you use SEO techniques to get to the top. Basically, because it's a fake domain, all the content on it is absolute garbage and crap. And anyone that downloads it, you're actively downloading malware and you're actively installing it. And the only reason that you're falling for it is because you're being socially engineered to think that it's the correct, legitimate site. And it is an incorrect, illegitimate site hosting malware. I would just say really quickly, it's almost like exhausting, but educate your end users to look at the domain names, make sure that those are right. Educate your end users to be mindful of downloading and running code on their box. If your EDR solution can detect information stealers, they're all not all different, but they're different. So it's not like you're going to guaranteed detect it, but an info stealer shouldn't have certain behaviors that an EDR solution worth a damn, excuse me, Kennedy, an EDR solution worth its weight should be able to detect information stealing behaviors. What I would recommend is not a bad practice. Maybe do this on Friday as like a fun Friday activity. Put your EDR solution on a box in a controlled lab environment, potentially off, not off network, but like firewalled and such. Well, I mean, you could even, with a lot of EDR solutions, you can basically nerf the box so it only has network connectivity back to the managed console of the EDR solution and run an information stealer on it, detonate it. Only if you know how to handle malware, only if you know how to put the protections in place, only if you know what the heck you're doing, you could run the malware, and because you can download it from Malware Bazaar, VX Underground, and you will be able to see if your EDR solution detects it or not, right? And if it doesn't, well, then you've got a problem because you may be exposed. You'll obviously want to tune your EDR solution at that point. Perhaps if you don't have the technique or the skill to tune your EDR, you can contact your EDR provider, like, whoever, like Carbon Black, Cisco, whatever, and be like, hey, this isn't detecting this information stealer. Can you help me out? Can you throw a bone? So threat actors, man, they are clever. And, info stealing's a thing. I will tell you, again, I'm collaborating with a company called Flare.io, but I think it's a wicked cool platform. Flare.io, you're going to see when I make my video, actually does some really cool stuff. And when an info stealer works and steals, it actually copies down all the information about the machine that it compromised as well. So if your machine, like let's say it's I don't know, DJ BSEC Turntable Manufacturing Company, right? So DJ BSEC TT Company, where BSEC's on the 1 and 2s, you're wicka, right? This is me holding my headset, right? And his domain is BSEC TT or whatever. Like inside, the info stealer captured data in addition to BSEC's creds and API keys and all that other junk, session tokens, etc. It'll also have like // users / or like domain BSEC TT. Like you can literally find compromised assets in your environment through Flare.io, which is ridiculous because basically you don't know you're compromised, but the threat actors know you are, and you can use that data set to find out that you're compromised. Very, very violating to discover, like that's how you discover that you've got a pwned box, but that's what's up. So anyways, you'll see. I really like that Flare platform.
Russian group gets cozy with German politicians. Mandiant reports that the Russian-linked APT-29, aka Cozy Bear, began a phishing campaign targeting German political parties in February 2024. The group sent out phishing emails posing as an invite to a political function. Clicking through attempts to install the backdoor wine loader. Mandiant warns that Cozy Bear adapts operations extremely quickly, seemingly coordinating with broader Russian geopolitical objectives. Mandiant warned other Western political parties to be on the lookout for similar approaches.
All right. Cozy Bear, super effective cyber threat actor group. I'm almost positive, I'm like 99% sure. Sandworm is the same threat actor. Different cybersecurity companies have different naming conventions. It's one thing that pisses me off, or it annoys me about our industry, but it's just a reality. So Cozy Bear, actually, let me just fact check this so I'm not misleading everyone. Cozy Bear, Sandworm, are they the same? Someone fact check me here. Oh, Fancy Bear and Sandworm. No, hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna get to the bottom of this, okay? Sandworm. Yeah, see how it says Sandworm and Fancy Bear, so two different ones. I'm almost positive Cozy Bear is the same as Anyway, I guess it doesn't even matter. I'm sorry to go down that rabbit hole. Here's the deal. Cozy Bear, whatever you want to call them, they are the A team. They are they are not going to get relegated to the B League. They are a top tier varsity letter. They had a varsity jacket their freshman year of high school. They're legit. They're like, the US's NSA effectively. So if they're coming after you, they're like Ninja Gaiden in the opening montage where it's like running through the field. If you know what I'm talking about, that's a super deep cut that I'm not even sure is relevant. But anyways, they're legit. You don't want them coming after you. They're getting involved in Western philosophy countries' political mechanisms, right? So disrupting elections, sowing Discord or whatever. That's more of a fancy bear type thing, is the misinformation, disinformation campaign. Guys, basically they're all over the place. Czechia, Germany, India, Italy, Latvia, Peru. They're screwing around all over the place. They have this backdoor for persistence called Wine Loader. This is another thing that FireEye does. FireEye has these naming conventions for these payloads, essentially. The more sophisticated, just so everybody knows, right? And if you're new to the industry, check it out. Most advanced threat actors, they make their malware modular, right? Okay, so modular meaning like there's an initial infection payload, like a dropper. Then there's a persistence mechanism so they can come and go as they please. There is kind of a mechanism for information gathering and stealing and recon. There's a separate payload for beaconing and like there's just, they make it really modular so they can swap things in and out. And if things get detected, it doesn't screw up the entire operation, etc. So, but FireEye, they use names like, I think like, I want to say like liquids is the persistence mechanism. Don't quote me on that, but like, I remember there's like root beer barrel, and I think there's a beer one. Anyways, you could say here, first stage malware, this is the dropper, right? And then it'll go pull down second stage post-exploitation type stuff, frameworks, etc. So there isn't much here to do. If you do work in a political organization, right? Like you're on someone's, political campaign manager, you're helping someone, or, you're like Bernie Sanders, you're part of his like ground crew, or Howard Dean. Do you remember that grassroots campaign? By the way, not to get super political, but do you remember Howard Dean? He like torpedoes an entire campaign because he went woo at a rally. Like that was enough to disrail his entire campaign. And then if you look at like the shenanigans that have been going on, I mean, it's outrageous that woo ruined his campaign. But anyways, there's nothing for us to do here unless you support a political somebody's political campaign. You're probably not going to be targeted. As a citizen of the United States and Western, philosophies and democratic elections, this is concerning as a citizen of the world, but I'm not doing anything about this tomorrow at work.
Strella Stealer used in new campaign. Researchers at Palo Alto Networks released a report detailing a new campaign hitting over 100 organizations in the US and EU over the past 5 months using phishing emails. Strella Stealer first popped on the scene back in November 2022, used for gathering credentials.
Oh, this is it.
The operators of Strella Stealer show that they're changing with the times. These phishing emails have switched from ISO attachments to now use zip attachments with a JScript file that attempts to deliver a malicious DLL.
All right. I mean, whatever. I guess this is the story for the next one. CISO series is kind of jacked up. I'm not sure why, what they're doing here. I'm not going to spend much more on this. TLDR, information stealers are out there, whether it's Redline Info Stealer or Raccoon, which were really, really popular last year. And now it's Strella Stealer, whatever it is. It gets to you through an attachment, right? ISO attachments are all the rage. LNK, HTML files, compiled HTML help files. They're all the same, guys. Like whatever, choose your adventure on file extension. But at the end of the day, it's going to run a payload on your box under your permissions, and it's going to own you. So get EDR solutions. Don't half-ass. Sorry, Kennedy. Don't like mail in cybersecurity. There are fundamental, basic cyber hygiene stuff. Honestly, for business, EDR is one of them. Like you can't skimp on the endpoint, period. Humans are using those endpoints. Humans are going to do silly things. Humans are on the road and using all sorts of sussy networks, right? Get an EDR solution.
UK blames China for voter hack. In August 2023, the UK's Electoral Commission disclosed an attack impacting voter data that occurred in August 2021, although not discovered until October 2022. Got all those dates straight? Now, the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre says an unnamed China-backed threat actor orchestrated the attack. These findings came as part of a briefing to the House of Commons by UK Deputy Prime Minister Oliver Dowden. In a separate investigation, the NCSC found that the Chinese-affiliated group APT31 almost certainly carried out a reconnaissance attack against UK parliamentarian email accounts in 2021. China denied any role in either incident.
Of course, China denied any role in the incident. Like, China's like, you got us. You, this guy. No, like, of course, deny, accuse. Like, simple playbook. Two things. One, the NCSC, which is basically like, I want to say kind of like a blend of the NSA and it's basically like cyber internal affairs, not internal affairs. It's kind of like CISA in the CIA, kind of. For the UK, I'm pretty sure they just instantiated it within the last year. And effectively, they look at cyber crimes and stuff like that and protecting the homeland of the United Kingdom. So don't sweat, Wales. You got some cyber protection too. So this story, again, this is all like nation state level stuff. This is very meta for our industry, but not anything that we're really doing unless you are involved in the upper levels of federal government in China. In the UK or any of these countries where the Strella Stealer is happening, right? With Latvia, Germany, right? So very interesting cyber news, but really, take a beat, right? Get some extra coffee. Kick your feet up for a hot minute. We got a day off here, basically, or an easy day, without anything directly targeting many of us. What sucks about this, dude, the attack was in October of 2021. Last time I checked, it's March 2024. 3 years ago. Guys, that Chinese threat actor group, like, they've disbanded that campaign. You go to the store where they were at and it's all cobwebs and shut down, like that fake business in the movie Boiler Room when Paul Rabanisi or whatever went to go investigate one of those businesses. Again, another deep cut, good movie. Whatever. So China is doing espionage things against Western governments. Like, welcome to the party, pal. Welcome to the party, pal. I mean, it is what it is. Again, just to give you something of value, just a reminder that, like I said a minute ago, different cybersecurity vendors have different naming conventions for threat actors. So APT31 is an acronym, Advanced Persistent Threat 31. That's actually a naming convention used by one business. I can't remember which now. But then it's also known as Judgment Panda, which is FireEye's naming convention. Violet Typhoon, which would be Microsoft's naming convention. And then Zirconium. I don't even know whose convention that is. Maybe Carbon Black. I don't know. My point is, do you understand why it's frustrating to have different names? I get why they do it. There's a perfectly legitimate reason. And you can ask Eric Taylor during Jawjacking if you want. But it just annoys me because, like, I'm trying to talk to other people and other practitioners. And it's like, oh, we're seeing this thing. It looks like it's Judgment Panda. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're seeing it too. But it looks more like Violet Typhoon. It's like, we're talking about the same thing. Jesus. All right. So, anyways, let's go. All right, y'all. I hope you had a great show. We're right at time. It is Tuesday during the school year, so I will be going to the Citadel and teaching my cadets about vulnerability scanning. Why you got to look for those phones. Why vulnerability management analysts go... Why vulnerability management analysts boil down into apathy. Ask Casually Joseph how he's feeling about Patch Tuesday. Guys, I'm Gary from Simply Cyber. This has been phenomenal. Genuinely appreciate all of you. Just a reminder, before you go, tomorrow we're actually premiering Two Cyber Chicks. We got a new episode of Two Cyber Chicks coming out. Episode 4 of season 4. Not big on New Year, New Me, us either. Jax and Erica continuing with their just absolute destruction of season 4, crushing it. Awesome, love it. Come back. We're going to premiere it tomorrow. And we got Jawjacking coming up in a hot minute. So I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's pivot over. Get you guys all the Jawjacking you need. All the Jawjacking you need, people. All right, let's bring the music down. Let's bring Eric Taylor in. Eric Taylor, how are you, friend?
What's going on, bud? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm absolutely awesome. I love coffee. It's like my cheat code for life. Eric, what can people expect from Jawjack in the next 30 minutes?
Well, it'll probably go longer than 30, but we're going to talk about Akura. There was some stuff from HHS that was dropped about a little over a month ago that me and some of our councils have been kind of discussing. So,
all right.
Interesting.
Sounds awesome. All right, chat. I leave you in the trusty, capable hands of one Eric Taylor, also a Marine. Eric, right real quick before we go, what are your thoughts about that first story about setting up an independent military branch for cyber?
I have very mixed feelings. I need to look into it more. I've been so heads down on some other cases that I haven't had a chance to really dive into it. But do see a lot of acceptance into it, and I do see a lot of shade being thrown, but I don't know enough to form my own opinion quite yet.
Okay, no problem. You got a little crayon on your teeth there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Until next time, stay secure.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Let's get this thing started off. Let's start off with the intro, and we'll kick this thing off. All right, did the formality there. Let's get this up and let's get this going. So what's going on? Anybody else want to talk about anything particular while I'm getting things set up? Yep, my response. Gotta brush that crayon off. So those who don't know, that there's been a very, very long running joke for Marines eating crayons because, you know, we'll eat anything and we're a bunch of so we are essentially there. It really comes back to Uncle Sam's Misguided Children, USMC. Let me actually start this. Anybody want to hear a couple dad jokes? You know, I'm going to subject you to a couple corny dad jokes. So first one would be, sorry, I'm kind of distracted by a couple other things over here. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. Yeah, there's no coloring books around us because we eat all the crayons. Yep, outstanding in his field. Why do eggs, this one's an old one, most of y'all will probably get this one, but why do eggs not tell jokes? Because they will crack each other up. Sorry, just kind of shutting down a couple of things down over here. It's been a very, very busy morning. A lot of conversations since like 4:30 this morning. So, I thought rebooting my computer, just kind of resetting the entire environment. Yeah, no. That's why I even had mods like, give me a 5-minute warning. I'm still digging in stuff. So, all right. So we have a dad joke coming in. What do you call a guy with no body and no nose? I don't know. Please tell us, dreaded hoser. All right. So with that, let me kick off some music. Turn down the audio here a little bit. Yeah. George, I said this last time. I really need to get on the phone with you. Is that music too loud? Let me turn that down a little bit. I know it's loud on my ears here. Nobody knows. Good one. All right, so let's talk ransomware. Yeah, that's what we deal in all day long. Those who don't know, if you're first time or haven't seen me on one of these shows, my name is Eric Taylor. I'm the Chief Forensic Operator and the owner here at Barricade Cyber Solutions. Literally probably about 20-30 minutes away from Dr. Gerald Auger. Known each other for years, but you still in the same town. We still haven't met. It's going to be quite interesting that we may actually be the first time meeting at Wild Wild Hackin' Fest. So we got to go about 80% across the country to potentially meet. Kind of crazy. Even though I am going to try, I know Dr. Gerald Auger and Joseph Cadden are kind of teaming together, put the Charleston local meetup together, and I do have it on my calendar to attempt to attend. So if you are in the Charleston area or in South Carolina thinking about coming down to the Charleston meetup, consider it. I may be making an appearance at the Frothy Beard. And we can sit around and talk a bunch of stupid. Just cut loose a little bit. Alright, so Acura. This was actually dropped last month. I'll put it in the chat here so that way everybody has it. Divine Dream Divine, good morning to you as well. So these guys have been around for a while. You know, they've definitely hit up a lot of organizations. This one, you know, it definitely says Acura ransom was first identified in May 2023. I do think this was toward the end of 2020, but the next line will kind of explain this a little bit. I think in less than a year they've claimed at least 81 victims. So okay, there is a misnomer, you know, about how many victims ever comes in and how many threat actors always got. So you know what, we'll do this. I don't care. I've actually got a little bit of time, so we'll go down a massive rabbit hole. Y'all experience full ADHD moment of Eric. Download. Carrie, you're nuts, good sir. You are absolutely nuts. That's all I'll tell you. Barricade Cyber, brought to you by caffeine and anger. So while that's going on, let me get into one of my other portals and let me pull up their group status. Get their latest onion site. Connect. Carrie, we're all little nuts in our own little way, bud. We're all a little special and gifted. Now, if everybody was the same and not a little bit crazy, this would be actually kind of a a boring world. Wouldn't you agree? Oops, did I just... Somebody let me know if I just messed up. I'm not sure if I just muted Carrie or not. I was trying to remove him from the chat, or remove the thing, and I think I just muted him by mistake. Carrie, say something in chat, please, so I know we can still see you, good bud. If I did, I'm sorry. I will talk to Jerry. That is clearly my mistake. All right, so while we go through this, this is Akura. This is their ransomware page. This is also known as their name and shame site, so to speak. You've seen a lot of the other ones that have the pretty graphics and things of that nature. You know, I'll use another one as an example. The first time I actually seen this one come across on some of my feeds was My Date. What? This one's actually doesn't. They've actually changed that one up. Where's their blog one at? Oh, here it is. So they've actually pivoted and moved their blog site. So in typical threat actor fashion, you know, they'll list all their victims. You know, whether the data's been published. Some of them actually post a countdown, things of that nature. This is a typical type of scenario that you see from some of the threat actors. We'll load one more that I know. This is actually one of the auction sites. So if threat actors ever say they're going to sell your stuff, they'll use one of these type of sites to actually sell off your information. So this is definitely one site that we typically monitor. This one's been very, very buggy. Doesn't want to load half the time. It looks like it may actually load. Yep. I may actually have my links mixed up because this is Blackbyte. This is not the data warehouse. But this is either way. This is another form, you know, kind of like a blog style type of thing where, you know, so you know you got your school districts, focused business solutions. Sorry, I'm not trying to name and shame individual identities or organizations this way. I'm just trying to show you kind of what it is. But you know, this is Akura's type of website, and you know, it's very much an AS400. So if you've ever worked it sorry, I keep saying for some reason today. I'm not sure what's wrong with me. But if you ever worked at like Lowe's, Home Depot, things of that nature, you may have seen this type of thing. You know, it's very ASCII feel and look. So you have your leaks, you have your news. Leaks will populate here in a second, and it'll actually show you, you know, all the magnet links and things of that nature. So that way you can be able to download, you know, if you're interested in the PackRite data, if you're interested in Alliance sponsors group, you know, this is the leak site information. They classify the news as victims that they currently have that have not been leaked yet. And I do this for a reason, and I'll explain that in a moment. So yeah, you see here, you know, as of operating back in 2023, again, you know, that goes back to that news article. Then again, I'll talk about that in one moment. But if you have to scroll all the way up, but you'll see all these organizations that they have claimed to have compromised. You know, there's no additional proof here like some of the other sites will do. So this definitely looks like more than 81 to me, but I'm not going to take the time during this podcast and jaw jacking to actually go through that. So why did I go ADHD moment fully on you guys? You know, it's claimed to have at least 81. I arguably think it's well over 100 on that list that we just noticed and went through. But there was another organization. So before I go into that one, so it is believed by myself and many other people in our space, it's probably a 3-to-1 ratio, maybe a 2-to-1, where people who don't pay and get their stuff leaked out versus people who do pay and get their stuff removed. So, for every one that's listed, we think there was 2 more or 3 more that have been compromised and it was never shown, right? So, but there's no real proof until, international forces come together and they compromise systems and they're able to, fully extract that type of stuff. And sometimes you can be able to see it because the threat actor will take all the individual Bitcoin and Monero and whatever other cryptocurrencies that they're using and kind of filter it through into one major bucket and then do their disbursements for it. Some of them actually pay out the individual hacker before they take their cut and vice versa. So it's a business monopoly, really what it is. But here's what got confused to me when I originally thought May of 2023. It says right here, it should not be confused with another ransomware variant known as Akura. I did not mean to click that. Which was briefly observed in 2017. So that's when we started seeing these guys. Going through the article, there is research to support that Akura has connections to the now defunct Conti ransomware game, which is then part of TrickBot, things of that nature. So, could it become a possibility? And that's kind of what we were having discussions with counsel this morning. Because every time we make a ransomware payment, it would help if I had the screen up higher, wouldn't it? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But when we make a payment for a decryption tool on behalf of our clients, we go through the IRS OFAC check, and counsel's already told me that they are seeing pushback from some carriers for paying Akura because of their ties with potential TrickBot, which is on the IRS OFAC list. So making a payment to TrickBot could wind you into a lot of hot water. There is TTPs, techniques, tactics, and procedures, and there is some similar code that is put together. So you'll see the correlation. So that's when you see security researchers put out, there is a link to this, this group is linked to this one because there's snippets and everything like that. I can hear Eric's email, keep looking to see if I have a new, but I am so sorry, Space Tacos. Like I said, I was in the thick of it, trying to get a couple things taken care of. And let me actually shut down Teams real quick. Please stand by, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, you always have to go to Task Manager. Details. But it just goes to show you, things are very busy over here. Emails are going off. Okay, looks like I successfully killed Teams. Great, okay. Had to go for a minute and come back to see the man. Oh, what's going on, GPT Cat, or Cat GPT? I thought that was a bathroom reference for a second there. Okay, so here we go, Dr. Gerald Auger. I thought, I'm assuming truck meant TrickBot was just indecipherable payload second stage, which is a threat actor also. So TrickBot, for those who don't know, they were initial payload. of compromisation. Dr. Gerald Auger, if you're driving, you may want to pull over real quick because I'm going to show you something that's very, very sexy to you. Look at that infographic. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. All right, back to the real world. So, TrickBot was spread by malware, by phishing attempts, things of that nature through email, all those type of tools, and that was a brokering vessel that allowed for a payload to be, delivered and kind of go through. So, just checking on mod chat real quick. All right, so just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. I see some questions in the chat I'll get to here in a moment. But I definitely want to kind of go down this ADHD rabbit hole for everybody real quick. So, I remembered seeing Akura way back in the day, even before 2023. So there was essentially another spin-off variation before it became Akura ransomware. I have no factual information on this one. I just think it was a rebranding situation. That this was the original Akura was a POC or a proof of concept that was allowing folks to, or allowing the ransomware group to kind of solidify them before they became, the well-known threat actor group called Akura ransomware today. So Akura leverages many common features of their targets and organizations, yada, yada, yada. They are a ransomware as a service, yada, yada, yada. Distribution by country, of course, it is the U.S. Highest global GDP here, so they're going to attack where most of the money is, right? So, and again, definitely dive into the saying. Yeah, exactly. Definitely look at this. I hate saying sorry. It drives me nuts when I hear it and people say it and when I say it. But go back through, look at this document yourself. The one thing we see, and this one really goes into the compromisation of that CVE, which is the Cisco VPN. And they would, create their persistent account in the VPN because it was a local user, not an LDAP user or a single sign-on user, but it allowed for root access and be able to create your own. They would use defensive like power tools and kill AV to nerf your AV tactic. Oh, there was actually, hold on. There was actually something that just came out yesterday as well. And I may have to go over here. Oh, what was it? What was it? That's right. See if I can find this real quick. I may actually have to sign into it. Sorry, bear with me. I wanted to go down that rabbit hole for defensive evasions real quick, and you'll kind of see why in just a second. Nope, that's not it. That one's not it. There's so many EDR bypasses in all of my darn feeds right now. It really is nuts. But there was one that I seen yesterday that I really want to showcase. The coffee, yes, need the coffee. Heck, this is gonna drive me nuts if I can't find it real quick. Joseph, did I share that thing with you yesterday? Dadgummit. I may have to just keep going, ladies and gentlemen, and just do a different video on it. Joseph, I'm looking for that. I think it's Palo Alto's EDR bypass for MSI for low privilege. I'm not sure if I shared that with you privately or not. Oh, I think I found it. I think I found it. Yeah, I'm looking for the thing. That's right, the thing. You know, the thing. All right. Hopefully we can be able to bring this up in here. Thanks for bearing with me. If y'all are still here, thank you so much. 196 of y'all. Beautiful, beautiful people. All right, so apparently there is a way to bypass Palo Alto's Cortex EDR tool by using a, let's see if we can actually, can we get the actual link? Yeah. That way we can actually blow this thing up a little bit. So here's the link for everybody who doesn't know. But I've seen this come across my feed yesterday. And who doesn't love a good barf over Hillary Clinton? But they have a proof of concept here. And I just want you to note, right? So Palo Alto has kind of dismissed this thing. And I see their point to a degree. Right, so those who don't know, I'm going to walk through, you know, some PowerShell code for you. So, you know, you can ignore that; it doesn't care. And this right here is looking for the WMI product, the uninstall string for the Cortex application. We use this a lot in a lot of cases when we're trying to remove unwanted applications. In a lot of our cleanup, you know, it will do a regex where it's trying to clean up, or it's trying to look for those strings, clean up the strings, start the repair. So it's going to do a start process of the file path MSI exe, which is the MSI installer built into Windows with the argument with force uninstall that matches this string here, which is that sanitized version of the uninstaller string. Right, so it's going to force that. So you see them running it in here. It's actually running that. See if we can actually open this. Am I going down a decent rabbit hole for everybody? If I'm putting people to sleep, just say sleep in the chat. And then I'll move on. So you'll see they're going to install our wonderful Mimi cats, but you'll see here that they are doing PowerShell to uninstall Cortex. You'll see that's being removed. The thing that is interesting that they are showcasing here is this was done from a non-privileged, a general user. And I do see some of the threats coming in. Exactly, DJ BSEC. It's only the Palo Alto Cortex EDR tool. All right, so point of clarification. Let me just drop this over in mod chat because DJ BSEC is asking for it. So they're saying that you're able to, as a non-administrative user, be able to uninstall the EDR tool and get in there. So two things, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to point out. Palo Alto has pretty much said, look, if tamper prevention was enabled, aka you need to uninstall code to actually, make this thing work, that would have prevented that. Yes, absolutely, right? So it's an onion link. Sorry, I'm being distracted. DJ BSEC, please explain as a third grader what you're looking for, please. I'm having focusing more than 5 seconds at a time over here. So that is part one. Having the tamper prevention turned on will prevent that. The other one is allowing essentially UAC, user access control, not to be prompted requesting advanced privileges to uninstall the application. Back to that. So that kind of goes into this whole defense evasion and why I went down that whole rabbit hole. So there's tools out there called Power Tool that will help you disable an AV. There's Kill AV. We see these a lot in a lot of our cases. They use Discovery, PC Hunter, AD Find, Sharpound, Masscan. We're also seeing a lot of the credential and the lateral movement with Mimikatz, Lasagna, LSAS. Those who don't know, LSAS is your credential dump, things of that nature. Mimikatz is also used for a lot of that stuff. We're seeing RDP, but we're also seeing the tool. Oh, I'm having a brain fart yet again. Is it Lbrute? Is it Lbrute? Sorry, I definitely cannot go into my BFIR box live stream because that would just open up a ton of So Nbrute. So okay, Joseph already answered it. Okay, so this is one of the tools that we're seeing for massive RDP attacks. So you pretty much load this in and it will brute force your way into an RDP session, things of that nature. So one cool thing that, or no, I shouldn't say cool, but the one thing we are seeing the return of is Rust Desk. I have not seen that in a while, at least in the cases that we've had. I've also not seen a whole lot of Cloudflare tunneling. We have seen in the past where they will do Cloudflare tunneling to obfuscate their connections back to their command and control for Mimikatz, for just a number of tools of the C2 servers, Cobalt Strike, things of that nature. So we definitely, again, if you haven't seen this, wealth of information in here, definitely look into this. Definitely be looking for these tools, rclone, very legitimate program. Should it be installed in your environments? Probably not. Maybe for your administrators, yeah, maybe. But your, Carl that's down the hallway, making videos probably doesn't need to have rclone. May not need to have FireZilla. More than likely, probably doesn't need WinSCP or Rust Desk or any desk or any of that stuff, right? So, taking these tools and starting to incorporate this stuff. Joseph will tell you that, I even ping him. I'm like, hey, look, we need to start making sure we are looking for this tool. We need to add this. If we're seeing new instances, we're seeing any existing applications, things of that nature, always advancing, always improving. The whole key thing that everybody needs to learn about, especially when you're looking at this thing today, nobody's perfect. Nobody's 100% secure by any means. But as long as you're making constant daily strides to move forward, to be a more secure tomorrow than you are today is the only way to effing win in this freaking game, right? The one thing to also to note, I think it was in here. Maybe not, but we'll see. Yes. This, I'm just going to do a search. Yep. So also the 3-2-1 rule. This is the one thing we've been seeing a lot of people talk about lately, and it's really starting to come back up. And things like CISO, not CISO series, but the Jen Easterly and CISA should be talking more about, some of these things are very common and should be considered basic stuff. And even in I'll have to go back through the latest October briefing, but I didn't even see some of this stuff in here, right? So, not enough coffee for Casually Joseph. Yeah, so the 3-2-1 rule is important to implement across the enterprise. This means maintaining at least 3 copies of all important files. 3 copies, ladies and gentlemen. I know that seems a lot. But trust me, when it comes to your data and dealing with ransomware, redundancy, you want copies. Store these files in 2 different media types, external drive, NAS, things of that nature. So you have 2 copies in case they get a hold of, or your local backup, these things here, ladies and gentlemen. So we actually started pivoting to this a little bit starting this year, because we've been having a lot of cases where people are having problems just running, our tools and stuff. So we're starting to ship out, thumb drives, with Windows to go and some tools on there, and we'll get in and be able to do what we need to do. But those things go bad, right? Even with, these nice little cases that, help do all the shock absorbing and stuff, but, this thing's going to go by FedEx, and, so. But, and then ensure 1 copy, as the third topic, is offsite and preferably offline. So the whole topic about that one, is, getting to immutable backups, things of that nature, so you cannot delete versions of your data, right? And having it only spin, there's an incredible workflow that you got to go through, unless I'm not in this particular workflow anymore. So there may be tools out there that I am not aware of. If you know of a tool like this, then definitely, drop it in the chat. I'm sure DJ BSEC will probably yell at me in a minute, but there's a workflow you got to go through with some of the tools out there where you upload from your NAS or local backups, whatever it is, to that cloud infrastructure. It's going to sit in that hot bucket. Then you transfer from that hot bucket to the cold storage. That cold storage stays offline. But a lot of times there's that brokering connection that stays live during that transfer. And it does require a manual process. I'm sure folks can build something out in Terraform and things of that nature, but it's a process. So definitely look at this 3-2-1 rule when going through your backups to go through. Disabling hyperlinks and received emails. This would actually solve one other issue that we've been seeing. I think it was earlier this week, right? Where I'll just Google it real quick. I don't know what the CVE is. This is probably it. The Munker link. Yep. So this one, what's ad? Wow, I forgot to install my ad blocker. Do not accept. Go away. So this one actually, this is not a very good one. Shut up. Go away. See if it actually shows it. It does not. But essentially what this thing does, it brokers, there's a link that's sent to you that essentially when you click it or you try, you have, so you can click it and it'll open or try to make an SMB connection. Also, if you have a preview access, like if you want to be able to preview the email, and a lot of times, like even in our calendar, just for your understanding, like when we do the meet.barricadecyber.com and it shows that preview there, that's kind of the preview link of populating that device or that website. So having that preview enabled, having accepting links into your tenant or into your tenant all the way around is kind of a bad thing. So even looking at disabling hyperlinks in received emails, thus shutting off your preview access in email as well. So again, definitely look at this stuff, disabling remote desktop protocol, ADP ransomware deployment protocol. As Jerry says, he's got a video for that. I got a shirt for that. But there's just a ton of information in here, right? So definitely go look at that. If y'all want more of a deep dive into some of that stuff where I'll just rant for about 3 hours cursing and screaming, let me know. All right. We have 155. We didn't lose too many people on here. Is everybody still awake? Yeah, all data at rest, John, should be encrypted. Ideally, transferring from even the transfer and the storage to the offsite immutable storage or offsite storage should be encrypted as well. So if you can swing it, that'd be great. Let me swing back over to mod chat and see if they're So Kimberly can fix it. There was a comment about public speaking meeting tonight. Is that in the Simply Cyber? I'll talk about that in a second. I just want that confirmation, please. Gary, were you muted? Did I accidentally put you in timeout earlier? Because I was trying to take that thing off, but I think I hit the wrong button by mistake. So, JEM Michael, hey, proof of concept means what? Is this like a hey, it works, or like hey, it works if XYZ parameters are met? Yes. So proof of concept is that it's a proof of concept. It shows that a certain exploit or vulnerability essentially is available. Now, most of the time, researchers will just say, hey, this latest one. So thank you, Kimberly, can fix it. I will pivot back to that in 1 second, just talk about it for a second. But let's just say hypothetically, versions, or you're pen testing or doing a proof of concept against version 3.2.1, and that's available for RCE and remote code execution, RCE. And it's kind of up to when you submit that over and you submit that rough draft of that proof of concept, it goes through and then says, the developers will be like, oh, well, this actually impacts multiple. Sometimes the security researchers will, go through previous versions, depending on what it is, to see how long this may have been potentially available. And sometimes the bug bounties will, increase because you found a vulnerability that's been prevalent over multiple generations of code. And you're going through that research to help educate them a little bit. But most of the time, the developers can be able to do that. But yeah, it pretty much means it works. You've at least tested it on this version. You've given documentation to how to replicate this in their own environment, and kind of go from there, right? So there is a talk tonight. I'm not sure about the details of it, but apparently there is a thing where to remind you later about public speaking group in meeting tonight on Discord. This is happening at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. NSA Virus Labs. Eric, what's hit this week at Barricade? What's hit this week at Barricade? I don't understand the question. Maybe what's hot? What's happening? If that's the question. A lot of heads down. A lot of report writing right now, trying to get some of these cases across the finish line for final notifications for insurance companies, federal regulators, all this stuff. It's a mess. I've even been leaving Joseph alone. Live Beats Lab - Andy McPherson. How do I find out if I need to follow NIST guidelines? That's a good question. A lot of times your organization will tell you. So if you work for a company, they should know if they are required to, they should be required to know if they need to follow NIST guidelines. I think there's an actual document for that, though. Let's see. I could have sworn there was an actual, maybe this was it. I'm just going to scan this real quick. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so this actually does do some of this. Okay, perfect. So I'll put this in chat. So that's kind of what I was looking for before I just threw out random links, ladies and gentlemen. So compliance with NIST 873 is mandatory for federal agencies and contractors. So if your business, if you work for the federal government or you're a contractor, that this kind of goes into the whole CMMC, NIST 800-171 type of thing that's going to be kind of rolled out if you're a contractor of a prime or subprime organization. So, I don't fully buy into this one. I think this one should be more of CMMC, which is the spinoff of 800-171, again, for prime and subprime contractors for the DoD. Unless I guess you're just working for, okay, so now I think that one through. So if you're working for the federal government but not part of the DoD and working on CUI, classified and controlled information, or classified uncontrolled information, CUI. And so that would be the framework that you go through. Organizations doing business with the U.S. There you go, must comply with another set of requirements, the 800-171. So you can kind of go through that and see if you are required to do that. I will say, if you've never been a part of any sort of framework or anything like that, and you want to at least broker down some sort of framework, definitely strongly look at CIS. We're starting up a goofy service for that too, where we're trying to create reporting and all that stuff. So hopefully that'll be a service we're offering in the mass toward the end of the year. So there are definitely companies out there that will help walk you through CIS, and it helps introduce the business to a lot of documentation and a lot of frameworks and things of that nature, and that stuff is very pivotal to the other frameworks as well. There's actually Excel sheets out there that will pivot you from CIS over to CMMC 800-171. I feel like I'm talking 1,000 miles an hour. Sorry. If I'm talking too fast, tell me to slow down. Again, ADHD is a very real thing for me today. No amount of medicine is helping. Back over. Absolutely, Live Beats. Glad that was of help to you. Let's catch it up here on mod chat, bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions for me, I do have a little bit of time before I have to boogie out of here. So definitely drop a Q with your question in there, and our wonderful, illustrious Kimberly can fix it. Has been awesome at screen capturing those and getting those over to me. All right, so just as a follow-up for the public speaking, there is a Discord channel. Let's see. See, it's not under local meetups, that's for sure. But I'm being told it's in the Public Speaking Masters-SC. And that's under the Love Fusion Center. That's a weird name, but it's, you know, with the movie love, MMA love, beer love, all that. So definitely check that out. Exclamation Discord in chat if you're not a member of the Discord group. Question in the mod chat from our very own DJ B-Sec. And those, if you're new, you know, seeing this thing, I co-host on Tuesdays. DJ B-Sec co-hosts or does the jaw jacking on Thursdays around this time. So definitely give him some love, give him some flack, beat him up a little bit, try to get him to answer some really tough questions, and try to get him to trip over his own feet, if you were. So question comes in from him. When I hear all data at rest should be encrypted, are we talking about a 4U NAS in a data center? I would think those breaking up into cages and stealing those when your thoughts data just means the physical drive is encrypted. And I get this needs to be done for laptops. Okay. Yes, it is just a checkbox, DJ B-Sec. Here's the thing about data at rest. Yes, drives should be encrypted. I don't consider that to be at rest, though. Unless the device is turned off, then it's at rest. When I think of a live system that's in production, anything that is at rest means any data that is not in current use. Right? So let's take an SQL database by example. Databases are widely used. They're always being accessed. They're always being changed. If you have sensitive information in that database, those fields need to be encrypted with something, right? So I think anytime sensitive information is being stored, it needs to be encrypted. So when you're not accessing it, or to access it, you have to use a decryption key to essentially access that data, right? So but it does go back to, you know, the NAS drives, all the things, right? So trying to apply any sort of encryption method that you can, that's just not, you know, base 64, because Python PowerShell, C++, whatever, can quickly decode all that really, really quickly, right? So what's hot at Barricade is what they meant. Yep. So we're just gearing up for more stuff, right? So we got, you know, we're still in the early stages of the over-the-top black sponsorship with Wild Wild Hacking Fest. They seem very excited about that. They seem very open and excited about the co-hosting that we did for the Offensive Con a couple weeks ago. So, just trying to get out there, ladies and gentlemen, trying to grow the business. Just up, yeah, that's why base 64 is encoding and not encryption, yes. But you know just as well as I do, same people who think KMS Pico is an acceptable tool to unlicense or get around licensing bypass thinks base 64 is also an encryption method. Let's see. Did you hear about Google pulling apps that were building a network from devices that downloaded it? It was like a back. So yeah, I've seen something about that. Like I was telling Dr. Gerald Auger when we started off, I've been so heads down. There's a lot of stories I get caught up on, but I know Google is making a lot of changes with their Chrome platform coming up as well. But yeah, that looked like, from skimming that one, it did look like a botnet network. Right? Again, I gotta go back through and really read that. Take care, Dan. Thank you so much for the kind words. I'm assuming this is you're referring to Wawa Hacking Fest. I hope it will be. I hope it will. It's literally our biggest conference sponsorship we've ever done. So, no, we're going real deep on it. Get your mind out of the gutter, ladies and gentlemen. Just checking a couple things. Any last questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any last questions? Yeah, here's something for you guys. I think I posted it last time, or I talked about this last week. But think about some items. Like, if you ever thought it was cool to do something at a conference like Wawa Hacking Fest, what would you have liked to have done, right? So, there's going to be a lot of collaboration. If we're not doing it, then maybe one of the other sponsors will do it or something like that. But we definitely want to see what the community thinks. A lot of the stuff I've been thinking about has been shot down. So, I'll tell you, the running of the ducks, as I was going to call it, has definitely been shot down. We don't want to get banned by the hotel that's sponsoring it. So I do know we're going to be working on trying to put together some sort of meet and greet with Calendly, so that way if you want to get together and sit down or whatever over a beer or some food or something like that, we're going to make a Calendly link or whatever to the conference, open up a couple of spots. So if you want some, and not in an adult way, one-on-one time, then we're going to make that open as well. We're just trying to figure out the logistics of the link, mostly because I just, when you go to barricadecyber.com, you scroll down, you'll see, all the different options. Anytime I create something, it's putting it in the main website, and that may just be the way I have to do it, but we'll kind of go from there. Oh, J.E. and Michael. So there's a thing that was actually, ransomware created using AI. When do you think it will get you see it get big this year or next year. I think this year. I honestly do. I'm actually in a waiting list right now on the dark forums to get into what's called Dark Gemini, which is Gemini, the creation tool to create whatever, but in a dark fashion. So I think there's some videos floating around about it right now. I'm in the waiting list to be approved through my Alter contacts and all that stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to bring some videos to that soon. I did see some Android penetration tools, not Kali Linux, a completely different one being offered up. So there's a lot of stuff on the horizon when you start really digging into Telegram channels and dark webs and just all this stuff. It's a mess. Makes you really want to go Uber, not just tinfoil hat, but just tinfoil body. All right, so definitely the participants are dropping off. I do greatly appreciate everybody sticking around. Currently looking at 123 of people from what Restream is showing me. So we will let's see. Will you be able to use it and then reverse engineer it to do patches and POCs? Quite possibly. There was with ChatGPT, I think it was, or maybe it was Gemini. There was one of the online tools where you could be able to ask it in different ways. So, this is going to be very dark and morbid. Please forgive me. But, dismemberments and making, illegal illicit drugs and, just how to unhealth care people. So there's, it's interesting. Anyway, thanks everybody. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Eric with Barricade Cyber. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will do the sea shanty and then with the closing outro. Take care all. See y'all next week.
Once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same, a criminal, then found their fame by taking that data to go. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.
If you enjoyed that content, keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the next one.